What's up, everybody? This is Nick, and you're joining us once again for a Micro Mini Lightning Newscast, where we bring you news fast. News you can use, news laid at your feet that we offer up to you. And as always, I'm joined by my good friend and fellow newscaster.
This is the prostrate Eric Boyd.
And Eric, today we're bringing him stories about things that were known, but found something unknown.
Things that were known, but found unknown.
That's right.
All right, well,
as always, we're gonna peel back the layers for him, and we'll tell him what that means here in a second. But as always, we've got 10 minutes. 10 minutes to bring you these stories, and after those 10 minutes, we're done. So, in 3, 2, 1, Eric, hit us with that first story.
Well, the story I have today about the known unknown was apparently in the Amazon rainforest. A lot of people live there, and not just around the rivers. Archaeologists have discovered 81 ancient settlements in the Amazon. That's pretty crazy because they weren't near the river. They were a ways away from the river, which is not common. And that tells that as many as, I want to say it said 10 million people could have lived in the Amazon rainforest. So when we think of the Amazon, I always think about these small undiscovered tribes or these remote areas where only a few people live near, just a piece of the, a river or an offshoot of the Amazon, a tributary, you could say, since that's the actual name of it. But no, there are very large settlements scattered in certain areas of the Amazon rainforest, and they are boggling what archaeologists believe how the Amazon rainforest was even settled. And they're hoping to glean understanding of the nature of how they were settled, why they were settled, to help with conservation and just figure out what's going on here from the past. Nick, what could we learn from this? How could this affect us?
So, wait a minute. They didn't know about these things before?
No.
So the rainforest was known, but what was unknown? see where
I get you.
Does that explain what this whole thing is about? But so they didn't know about these settlements that were apparently there at one point, huh?
Yeah, up to 10 million people prior to European colonization.
10 million?
Yeah. The homes, Amazon is mostly untouched landscape, and it's not just things scattered in nomadic communities. This is changing how they believe, the environment of the Amazon is. They found some populations away from major rivers, which much larger than they previously could exist, and it's making a big impact on how these tribes had changed the environment of the Amazon as a whole as well.
Well, they just lived as part of it. There were 10 million people hiding out in this Amazon rainforest.
And we're not talking back. These are like ancient. They're thinking around 1250 AD to 1500 AD. I mean, that's a ways, 500.
That's substantial.
That's not crazy though. We're not talking about thousands and thousands of years ago. We're just talking about a little bit ago.
Right.
So you got to think about this. Most of the Amazon is untouched. 95% of the Amazon River Valley region remains completely unexplored. So who knows what we'll find out there?
Well, I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff that you can gain about learning about these cultures and the way they lived out there. And, this could ultimately help us to colonize Mars.
Well, it could.
Eric, how would that help us colonize Mars?
I have no idea.
I know. I had to put you on the spot. I had to come up with just a really weird way of bringing that up.
I'm humble enough to say I have no idea.
Well, I know. I don't know how that would actually happen either. But no, that's kind of cool that something that we we've talked about on shows before where they discover, and we'll move on to the next story here in a second, but they go farther down into the ocean. They discover fish they never knew about, but to miss out on a whole 10 million person population that may have lived
they changed the land. There's like these hills and these like ditches. That's what they found. So they're big rings.
It's incredible. Another story of something that we found here is that, so recently there was a coffin that was opened, a sarcophagus from Egypt. And on this sarcophagus, it is said that the occupant was and I'm going to nail this name, Mernith Itis, a priestess from the temple of the goddess Sekhmet.
Well, Nick, clearly, your Egyptian language.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that was...
Thank you for teaching us.
Well, Eric, you're welcome. That was spoken in the actual dialect.
I appreciate that. I like your authenticity.
An unknown Egyptian dialect that you only know if you've studied many
ancient documents.
Seconds.
All right, but what's up with this new sarcophagus? Well, old sarcophagus.
This sarcophagus that's actually been on display in Sydney, Australia, at the university, at the Nicholson Museum at the University of Sydney, Australia. It's been on display there for decades. It was originally bought in the 6th century BC, or sorry, the coffin from the 6th century BC was purchased by Sir Charles Nicholson from an Egyptian antiquities market in 1857 or 1858, records said. But it was thought to be empty. There was no reason to open it. There was no reason to look into it, and much... archaeologists, they know their stuff.
They tapped on it. They how you're like, let's
sounds hollow.
Sounds like there's nothing in there.
But they recently opened it, and what they found was there were some remains of a human.
Oh wow.
Yes, they found what appear to be toes and possibly even some toenails, which according to this article is very exciting because toenails keep carbon dating records very well.
Oh, really?
It holds on to the carbon dating quite well. I mean, they found resin fragments, bandages, hundreds of faience beads that once rested over the mummy as a net. This coffin was not empty, which you would have thought for decades it's been on display. Archaeologists known for looking into these
archaeologists
things.
are very busy people. They don't have time to open everything.
They can't be bothered to actually look into it.
How many sarcophagus can you open in a day? I mean, they just probably tapped out.
Oh, I know. I mean, they're like, man, I opened up 3 today. I am tired.
Yeah.
Those things are heavy. But wow. I mean, they're lining up a CT scan for these things to see what else they can
I'm sure
find.
It was like a janitor that opened it. It was like, hey, no one's popped the top on this one.
Oh, he just...
And that nice sound it makes when you open a nice fresh sarcophagus that's
honestly,
not been opened.
What I'm imagining now is that some janitor was like working at night and he bumped it over.
Okay.
And he's like, oh man, everything spilled out. So he just sweeped everything, like sweeped a bunch of dirt in there and toenails and stuff.
Yeah. And, people just lose their toenails at museums all the time.
All the time. In Australia, they wear those, they
flippity flops,
sandals and flip flops all the time.
Yeah,
so,
flippies.
I know my Australia. It's all right. Don't look it up. But this is just interesting to me that you would have thought somebody would have been like, we need to open this up and see what's inside it. But no one bothered.
Who knows? Probably an intern did it.
Well, and some people are a little upset. They're wondering why the remains aren't being sent back to Egypt and other things. Well, Eric, we need to move on. We have a very exciting story.
You told me about this story.
We're saving the best for last. There is the possibility that they have discovered a new organ. Eric, what is this organ called?
According to the articles I have read, the organ is called the interstitium. Interstitium.
Which is Latin. It's Latin. It's the Latin word combining inter
Okay.
for in between.
Oh, and stidium.
And stidium is to the place. So literally it means between the other places. And if you want to go,
I like that.
if you want to go,
It sounds like nowhere.
if you want to go deeper, you'll go to, of course, Indiana Jones 4, the space between spaces is what they're talking about here.
Oh, okay.
As
Is that the one with the aliens?
Yes, it was a terrible movie. Let's not talk
He's
about it.
making
Move
a
on.
new one.
I know.
Okay,
I
we're
know.
going to talk
Well,
about that, though.
Yeah.
All right.
So what this is it is these sacks of
Fluid.
cells and fluid that they have found in between the organs. And the way these have been missed before is that when they are doing, when they're cutting open the human body, when they're using cadavers and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
they normally drain this fluid out of there.
Oh, so it shrinks them up, probably closes up the organ.
Right.
Because they're very, it's a series of filled spaces in between, like inside your organ, inside your walls of your body, like under your flesh, around your organs. So that like there's a net of this lubricant around your body. They identified the fluid as lymph, LYMPH, which contains infection-fighting white blood cells that drain into the lymphatic system. So, wow, that's pretty crazy.
And one of the cool things that I read in an article that this could lead to is it could show us how cancer spreads. And it could lead to a way to stopping the spread of cancer.
Well, that'd be pretty cool because, once it gets into your lymph node system, that's when it gets bad in cancer. They think that the interstitium generally acts as a shock absorber for the body's tissue during daily functions.
Right. And this was discovered. They had to use a very high powerful microscope, apparently, to discover this. It's one of the they had never thought to look in between there, but they used a very powerful microscope, and somebody actually found it. From what I was reading, somebody actually discovered it by accident. Now, whether this is going to be something that is really an organ or not, they're saying they have to do a little bit more research on.
What group says, hey, this is an organ? What group is that?
The same people that say what planets are.
I'm glad. So it's just a random collection of dudes.
Right. This organ they were going to call Pluto, but there's debate on whether if they're going to do that or not. So, I mean, this is kind of a cool thing. It's one of those deals where it's like, we know we've discovered a lot about the human body, but there's still more stuff to discover.
We are in a universe of our own. The human body has its own like environment, and we still don't even understand it all. And we think we can understand our environment and our universe. Well, that's insane. What fun we have.
We don't discover these things because we don't open sarcophaguses.
Well,
we're
not janitors.
We don't look deeper into things. But no, I mean, this is kind of cool. I mean, it's probably my favorite one of all these stories. But it's neat to think that there's just this organ that we never discovered. And that's all the time we have. Eric, any final thoughts?
What is going to be found next? What do we already know or think we know that we don't? What
is known that is unknown?
The known unknown or the unknown known?
All right, Eric, where can they know to find us?
Well, you can find us in the known. And one of those known places is on Facebook. Go to Facebook, type in Pull the Chair Podcast. You will find our wonderful page. If you want to contact us, leave a comment on this episode or any others, and we'll get right to you. Also, you can find us on YouTube if that's your jam. Go to YouTube, search for
That's your jam.
If that's your jam.
Okay.
Type in Pulpit Chair Podcast, and you'll find our audio files there, and you can listen to them again and again at your own little heart's content. And you can also find us on Twitter, just at Pulpit Chair Pod. That is at Pulpit Chair Pod. And where else can you find us? Finally, you can find us at our own personal website, puckpodcast.website, the most sophisticated website you'll ever go to. I say sarcastically.
Website.
So pucpodcast.website. Nick, I throw it back to you.
All right, my friends. Well, you live in a known world. Go find something unknown and have yourself a great day.
Bye.